Guys, like and subscribe to When Saturdays Come. Up the Blades.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to When Saturdays Come with me, Dry Bry. So, how are we all after the Burnley game? Let's get it out of the way. Say a big congratulations to Burnley and Leeds. Fully deserved to get promoted. They're the best two teams in the league, and we've got to fight it off in the playoffs again. So we look forward to that. But there's two more games to go before that. There's a lot to talk about and a lot to happen. It's Chris Wilder's presser day today. I've just watched that. So I'm going to put that on in its entirety, end of my little bit here. And you can listen to what he's got to say. He's had a fair bit to say. But first, we'll just redress a little bit and just say, well, what do we do now regarding Stoke City? How do we play it? What teams do we play? Do we change it around a little bit? How are we going to prepare for the playoffs? What's Chris going to do regarding that, which we'll talk about a little bit, and what he went on about. But first and foremost, I just think personally that they will change the team around a little bit. It might include the odd one or two under 21s, Ryan O'Neill and people like that might come into the equation. I think he will rest players like Gus HAMER and probably City Peck and people like that. My honest opinion is, I honestly don't know what team he'll put out. I really don't. I've got an idea. I think he'll play the team players like Gilchrist, Holding, McCallum, Brooksy, probably O'Hare, Brewster. They will. I think they will all come in and get minutes. Tom Davies might. I think he's trained this week apparently, according to Chris. So he might be involved. If not, he will play against Blackburn, I think he said. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, he's got to get a balance right between the two, and he's got to get minutes into the legs from players who have not been playing, those who have been on, just outside the squad, to come back in and, get minutes in the legs like Moore and people like that. They've had to manage Campbell, Tyrone as well, so he might get a few more minutes. So he's got to rotate it around a little bit, and rightly so, and get everybody prepared for what's coming up in the next few weeks. What I would want to say first, big congratulations to under 21s. Absolutely massive. Won the league 5 times on the bounce now, having beat Colchester in the week. We really need Category 1 now. I think Chris has alluded to that. He said it before. We need bigger challenges for that squad and that team and going forward. We really need to improve on that. And with the new training ground, which will help the first team as well, so it could be really good for them, and it's fully deserved to every single one of them. All the management, all the staff, Dave Geary, all the management, fantastic performances all through the season. A massive congratulations to them as well. Chris Wilder, I mean, I think we're going to probably team up. Will Edna Stevens, he's at Stoke City, and Tyrone's had a spell at Stoke as well. So we have got a bit of history with players going back to Stoke. How will they approach it? I don't know. They're not out of the woods yet, actually. If I'm honest about it, they got absolutely murdered at Leeds. They smothered them. They closed them down. They looked a very, very poor side, Stoke City, and they've got to have a big turn up in form. They've got to turn up on Saturday against us. They're not out of the woods. I know Chris will want to win. He'll put a team out which is competitive to try and get a result at Stoke, which you've got to do. And Chris wants to win every game. That's his mentality. Whether he'll be able to do that, we'll wait and see. Let's hope he can do that, and we can put up a good performance for the fans who are going down to Stoke, and they deserve that. If you go down to Stoke and you paid your money and hard-earned cash, they need a performance from the team, don't they? Can I just say one thing, which is really important? I want to say it. I've been doing this channel for like 3 months, just 3 months, about 12 weeks. And the numbers have been ridiculous. I've got nearly 1,000 subscribers, and a massive big thank you to every single one of you who make comments, who subscribe. It's been ridiculous. I know, I think everybody's channels have been going up over the last, views have been up over the last few weeks. Obviously with all the intense and the playoffs and all what's been going off. And I did put a video out yesterday regarding the disciplinaries on and off the pitch, which has been quite well received actually. It's been an interesting thing. I've had, I want to say this because one or two people have made comments from Burnley, and rightly so. They made some comments about Chris Wilder, and rightly so. It's been sort of, well, how can I put it? They can't defend people running on a football pitch and having arguments with players, and I've heard people make comments about players kicking people and spitting at people and stuff. It's just not acceptable, no matter what. But if you've not seen the video, have a watch, have a listen, and put your comments in about it, and let me know what you think. Seems to be quite well received, and it's people have been quite interested about it. So thank you for that. But anyway, Chris Wilder's interview. He did talk about the pitch invasion and what's gone off, and LMA have been on to him about it, League Managers Association, and they've asked him if he's okay, and what's been happening. Now, people have got short memories as well regarding situations, and if you remember Billy Sharp down at Nottingham Forest, what happened to him when some thug ran on the pitch and assaulted Billy back in a couple of seasons ago. So they are, you know, people make observations about that. The club have been asked for their observations about that, and the right people have been on to his staff as well to see if they're okay, and rightly so. I mean, the club have got history with this type of thing, and it's not acceptable on and off the pitch. And it's not, again, you know, after what happened to Billy Sharp and that, the LMA and people like that have to protect the managers and also the staff. So they're going to make sure they're okay, and obviously it's been looked into, and I'm sure more stuff will come out in the near future. He said he didn't need any more extra motivation to what's going off. I mean, he mentioned all this stuff with Bamford and Bogle and all that, what went off. He's had chats with Daniel Farke about it and Bamford about it. They're okay. Chris gives it and he takes it. You know, it's part of football banter to some degree. As long as you don't go over that red line, you know, he's quite happy in his approach. That's how it is in football. With all the banter, what goes off, and players having a dig at each other, and clubs having a dig at each other, and fans having a dig at each other. That's okay. Everybody's no problem with that, as long as you don't go over that line. And it's really important we do that. He doesn't want to change his approach to the next couple of games. He won't be making a few changes. Like I said earlier, right now, he might come in. He talked about Tom Davies, who might be involved at some point. He's back training, so he's looking forward to having some play minutes, maybe maybe Friday, isn't it? Tomorrow. Or next week as well against the Blackburn, which he really wants to win the last home game of the season for the fans. He touched on Gus Hamer and his bookings. He don't want to be getting him booked, you know, for the playoffs coming up as well. So I guess he will be protected, so we might not see much of Gus for the next couple of games. So, and rightly so. Players been playing. They've covered it up over the last couple of games as well. Who should have been playing. He talked about the playoffs and the history we've got with the playoffs, and he says he's going to deal with that. We'll talk about that at another time. So they are planning. They've had a couple of long meetings over the last couple of days regarding what's, you know, for the next couple of games and the playoffs and all the rest of it. They're going to deal with all that in the near future, but the game at hand is on Friday. Obviously, they want to go there and get a result. He wants to try and get to around 90 points or whatever he wants to do. So let's try and be positive. You know, again, you know, I'm not downhearted. I said I'd be getting playoffs, and we have. Let's hope we can win it. we're all looking forward to it, aren't we? We're not there yet. It's not a given right. We might be 15, 20 points clear at 6th team. It doesn't matter. It goes out that window a little bit, doesn't it? It's on the day. But you've got to believe that we're a better side and we're a good side. We don't become a bad side overnight. Look, we've had a big rebuild. We'd have took this at the beginning of the season, wouldn't we? Undoubtedly we would. I didn't expect us. I thought we'd have finished sort of around 6th, 7th, 8th this year, but we haven't. The squad have been put together very quickly from where we were at the beginning of the season. There will be ongoing things going off in the summer. Staff will come and go, players will come and go. Whatever it is, it will change in the summer again to some degree. So let's be positive. Let's look forward to Friday, get a positive result. Thank you obviously, all of you for liking and subscribing. Please do that. Put your comments in below. I'd love to hear from you. I generally reply to everybody. Don't be abusive. I've had, not to me personally, but a few swear words in the comments. But try not to do that if you can. I understand it, but don't try not to do that. So people do read them, by the way, so just be careful what you say. So thanks very much. Please like and subscribe, put your comments in, up the blades, and I'll put the Chris Wilder presser on immediately after this. I'll speak to you soon.
Go on then, Ads.
Morning, Chris.
Morning.
Morning. Just first of all, some follow-ups from Monday. Have you kind of heard any more around the pitch invasion and from the authorities and what clearly happened after the game?
Yeah, I got a call from the LMA seeing if I was okay, because that's my union and they protect managers. I think the coaches got their call from their union and the players as well, regarding sort of the incidents that happened. Understandable in terms of the celebrations, but I think just the organisation around it all and the protection. Clubs had history recently with Sharpie 2 or 3 years ago. So the FA as well have asked the club for their observations regarding the incident, and we'll reply honestly and openly as we always do.
In general, though, players, management in situations like this, there's got to be a solution found, hasn't there? Because if supporters are charging on the pitch, like we saw with Billy, incidents can happen. People's safety has to be a higher priority, surely.
100%. Totally understand the hostile nature of the evening, and would it have been the same at Bramall Lane? Yeah, I've actually been in it and around it. I think, well, obviously when the talk before is the arrangements leading up to that situation to prevent that going out the window. I think that's possibly the situation that needs clearing up, really. But I totally understand the celebrations, the euphoria around a team that gets promoted, and not taking anything away from any of the Burnley players or any negativity towards the Burnley players or Scott or his staff. Deserved promotion on 31 games unbeaten and 94 points and an opportunity to get into 100 points, which I talked about on my post game interview. So congratulated them. I think the way we've all acted and the players at the end towards their players. So, but as I said, when things get set up before and it doesn't materialise, and everybody's seen all the clips on social media. So, not on me now or our players or our football club to deal with it. It's left with other people.
Obviously seen first-hand Burnley celebrations. I imagine you'll have seen Leeds' celebrations as well this week. Is that providing a little extra motivation to join them? I
don't need any of that. I'm a big boy. You give it, you take it. You give it out locally, you take it locally, as I've always done. So we have our moments, other teams have their moments. I had a conversation with Pat yesterday as well. So absolutely no issue.
Bamford, that is.
Yeah, I have no issue at all with it. I'm not sure about the the words used from a fellow pro, but I appreciated and respected him giving me a call, and we had 20 minutes, and same again. I spoke to Daniel as well yesterday and had an half an hour chat with him, and he's a super guy, top guy, and they're a top team and a top football club. So, like I said, I'm a big boy, and I would, in a heartbeat, have swapped our position for theirs, but it isn't the case. And as I keep going on about, 94 points for both of those teams is an incredible achievement, and the ability to go and get 100 points. So it's been a tough campaign. It was a tough campaign from the off for us, and we've kept it alive to the 44th game. So, but ultimately we've finished in the position that we will finish in, and. Over now to the other sort of questions that you're going to ask me regarding, I suppose, the last two games of the season, our approach, and then into obviously the doom and gloom of the playoffs.
Well, we'll cover that in a second. Just to box that last bit off, would football be boring without the banter and the rivalries and the back and forth?
100%. I think you know from my character. Don't just sit here and roll out the boring things. You want to dig deep into what this club is about. You want to dig deep into what my thought process is about. And as I've said, you have to. It's a big boys' game. So when I was playing, we used to give it and we used to take it, and that's part and parcel of the game at every level, and even on a Sunday morning. So. That's part of the interesting bit of the game as well. Local rivalries, rivalries between teams, players, and everything that goes with it all. So I've got absolutely no issue. As I said, when you give it, you take it. You have to take it. You have to get on with it, and that's I'm absolutely cool with it. And I said that. I said that to Pat yesterday. We had our moment in 18-19, possibly off the back of an incredible afternoon against Ipswich Town at home, and a long night, and an early start, and they've done exactly the same. And I've got absolutely no issue with them, and I've been doing exactly the same in terms of enjoying themselves, because to get promotion is an incredible achievement. It's not a given, and you have to do a lot of things right. And we've done a lot of things right this season and gone close. We're going to have to do some more things right between now and the end of the season, because of what I talked about after the game, and then going again. So, I don't think anybody should just, I don't know what words I'm looking for, acceptance that it's a given is promotion by any team. Leeds United at the start of the season would be odds-on favourites. Size of the club, budget, wage bill, history, players that they've got, managers' experience, odds-on. They didn't win it in March. They've not won it by 20 points. They've it's not like a Birmingham City situation in League One, where they've just absolutely steamrolled. They've been outstanding, and so have Burnley all season. But they both had their moments, but ultimately, it was always going to be, in my opinion, because of how the Championship is and how difficult division it is to win, and to win consistently, and to handle everything that comes with a 9-month season and all the challenges that get put in front of you. It was always going to be a difficult campaign for everybody, as seen in terms of the league positions of other teams as well. So don't underestimate what you have to do, and how hard you work, and then how hard you party afterwards when you manage to get over the line. And as I said, going on what I said on Monday night, congratulations to both teams, both outstanding sets of players and managers, and have fully deserved the positions that they're in.
So, as you mentioned, 2 more games to go. Some have suggested lots of changes. Some have suggested putting the kids in. You have a very successful under-21 team, as we've seen this week. I suspect you might not do that. What's your thought process on these last 2 games, and how you're going to manage your squad before the playoffs?
The thought process doesn't change whether it's a pre-season friendly or it's a 45th game of the season or 46th game. We'll prepare as we've always done to win the game of football. There's a few situations we've got to take into account. We have a few injuries, bumps and bruises that we've sort of covered up really over the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks. Not wanting to show our hand, but now I think you'll see that there's a couple of players that need a rest. Couple might need a rest mentally as well to refreshen them up. We need to get match minutes into some of the boys that haven't played recently. It's not going to be wholesale changes, but we need to get into a rhythm as well. So we don't need to disrupt that. As always, the young players need to deserve the right to play. What I will say about the 21s, I'm not taking anything away from them. They've had an outstanding campaign, but no disrespect, they're playing Colchester under 21s on Tuesday afternoon, and I should imagine all the young players at Colchester, the good ones, will be in the first team. So we need to get up to Cat 1 to challenge the competition at the moment. For the 21s, they're doing everything right, and you can only beat what's in front of you, but they need bigger challenges. The players need bigger challenges. The club needs a bigger challenge as well. So I've talked about this for a long time, that goes hand in hand with the training ground and the improvement in that for the first team, which the owners understand and recognise. And obviously the purchase of Dore is massive for us, and the knock-on effects of that in terms of going to a Cat 1 category. Now we're playing the likes of the teams that we should be playing. And then it's a step up, and then that'll be an improvement for those players. But Ryan O'Neill most probably be involved towards the next 2 games of the season. But all the other things I've got to factor in, and we want to. There's a couple of things as well. I want to break the club record of points in the Championship, and from an EFL point of view as well, because I think the players deserve that for the campaign that they've had. And we'll be going all out. Yeah, we've got 2 difficult games, but every game in the Championship is difficult. We've got a team that's still in a situation. So I think sometimes that puts it into perspective. A club that was in the Premier League for a long, long time, and the facilities they've got and the stature of the club in the division are still not safe in terms of dropping into League One. Do I think they will be? Yeah, and I like the club. Mark Robbins is somebody I've known for a long time, and done a great job wherever he's gone, and I'm sure they will. But for me, I'm all in for 3 points for Sheffield United, as I've been all in for 3 points for Sheffield United since the day I walked through the door. Yeah,
they've been down 7 years now, and they've not finished above 14th in the table. Does that kind of show just how difficult the Championship can be, and that you can't just throw money at it necessarily and expect success?
Well, yeah, I mean, and they've obviously, I think we all know, they've got supportive owners as well that would love the opportunity of, but financial fair play and the rules on that. But I think when people even internally supporters think this is just an easy achievement to go straight back up, there's your answer. Absolutely, in a nutshell, how difficult it is. There was your answer in 2016 when the situation, if it was easy, United would have been into League One and straight back out again. But it's not the case, and it's not the case in the Championship. So when people just think that, we've dropped out of the Premier League, blah, 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 we're straight back up, and dear me, everybody's let us down. I'm not so sure that'll always be the case with some supporters, and I think that'll be the case with, I should imagine they'll be even at the very, very top level. Always be the case. But I think when you identify situations like you've just identified for Stoke City, they love the opportunity of challenging the top two right the way through the season. They love the opportunity of getting into 90 points and love the opportunity of getting out the division through the playoffs. So, and then add on what went off last year, as I talked about, the culture change, the sort of the real low of the season before, and you can slide, and we haven't slid, and we've been competitive. It hurts that we've not pushed it to the 45th game or the 46th game. And I said, I've talked about it. I think it would have, I still think that it would have took 95, 96 points to get up. So it's not easy. So off the back of that, all the other stuff at the start of the season, learning on a job, new players coming into it, absolutely putting a new team together. So I know where I'm at with it, 100%, and I know where a majority of our super loyal fans are, and understand it. But like you said, Stoke City, and there's more examples, more examples of other clubs who have found it a struggle. But we're fighting and we're punching and we're back ourselves. But what I want is all the things that I've talked about. I want us to be a winning football club, regardless of the hurdles and the obstacles that have been put in our way this season and what we've overcome. And we've overcome the majority of them. And we're going to have to overcome some more between now and hopefully the middle of May.
Tom Davies, could he be involved these last couple?
Yeah. He trained yesterday. We'll see how he rocks up today. And we'll make a decision if he's going to be involved on Friday, but he'll be definitely involved against Blackburn.
And something that kind of got lost in everything else on Monday was your 300th game in charge of Sheffield United Football Club. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot, but it was irrelevant really, because I've got to say it got flagged up to me by Kev. Didn't really know where it was, and it got forgotten about pretty quickly. Listen and watched a Mourinho documentary, and he wants to win medals, collecting medals and collecting trophies and putting them on his mantelpiece is nothing. He just wants to win, and I just want to win. I want to win for my football club.
Still going to be here in 300 games time?
I'm not sure about that. I doubt it very much so. It's quite a punishing job. It's incredibly rewarding, incredibly tough as well, and to factor everything in as being a football manager. But my determination, enthusiasm is as big as it's ever been to achieve, and it's and you pointed it out, Adam. We felt it, we've lived it, we've worn it. When you win, we're always chasing that feeling, whether it's a game, whether it's a season. I'm always chasing that feeling, and still the feeling's the same as it's ever been, and the club need to be chasing that feeling always, and we're still chasing it coming into these next 3 or 4 weeks. So personal accolades put aside for club success, 100% always.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Morning, Chris.
Morning.
You talked about Daniel there, just up the road, up the M1. I mean, he gets promoted on Monday, wakes up Tuesday morning with a bit of a hangover, I imagine, and there's talk about his job. He'll be a manager.
Yeah, I get it. It has changed. The game has changed on a lot of fronts. So I think we've talked about expectations and everything. So I think we all understand the negative part of the job. But yeah, half-hour conversation with Dan, and enjoyed my conversation with him. And he's a good guy, and he's you know, it's a great achievement by him, because that isn't a straightforward football club. It's got a lot of things going for it, a load of things going for it, but there is pressure on all of us at different levels. I should imagine he has the most to deal with. The good things that come with it are offset by the other parts of it, and but yeah, I mean, to football people, that's a ridiculous idea or approach or decision to football people internally, but maybe externally these are things that do happen, and everybody has to deal with it and understand it.
Yeah, you talked about situations that you're having to manage in the last couple of games with injuries and fitness. Is Gus one because he's two bookings away from a 3-match ban? You obviously don't want to miss him for the playoffs. Is that enter your mind at all? Is that a concern, or are you just happy to trust him and let him do his thing?
Yeah, it's in our thought process. A lot of things. We had 2 meetings over the last 2 days, some really long ones, preparing us for the next 2 games, preparing us for scenarios, preparing us for the playoff. I think there was clarity after the Burnley game, which was a good thing, and there was a load of energy in the players coming in. I think they understand, and quickly got over Monday night and quickly focused. I did, talk to them about the importance of finishing the season off on a high, especially with our last home game. I want us to go into that with some more points on the board, and I definitely want to win our last home game in front of our supporters, 100%. So there's all sorts of things that we talked about. That was one of them. Injuries, minutes to key players, our approach to it. But there was an energy, there was a clarity, and there was a confidence about us as well. Of course, 100%, we'd have loved to have been in that position on Monday night that both the other clubs experienced. That's what you live for. That's why you're in the game. I think I did talk to you about it, Dan. That even in the Premier League, we always believed we could go and win a game of football. Yeah. And we have to have that, and now we have to believe. I think the conversation regarding the playoffs and the negativity surrounding it from our club, especially, I think I'll deal with it. I'll deal with that maybe down the line, maybe too early to deal with it now. But putting the players in a positive mindset, which I believe we have. We've got winners in the football club, from coaches and managers to players. They still want to win. They still want to achieve, and their dream together. As long as that's still strong, their bond together is still incredibly strong. I thought the performance was a strong performance on Monday night. I really did. It was, a lot of the narrative was that we've gone and that's us, and it'd be pretty much a straightforward game. It wasn't a straightforward game. We have to tidy up defensively. It's a poor penalty to give away at that time when we got ourselves back into the game. The first goal was unfortunate, comes through, and Kiefer tries to get his head on it and clears it and rebounds. And to be fair to Josh Brown, who's done that all season, it's a great finish. But I thought we started the game well. We fought our way back into the game well. It was a kick in the nuts in terms of going into half time 2-1 down. I thought our attitude to the game second half was pretty good. We need to be more controlled late on in games. Don't chase it. Don't go for wonder balls. Don't sort of force the issue in a way. In a way, attitude-wise, force the issue, which I believe we did, and we put them on the back foot. But in terms of the momentum and the quality in and around their area in the final third, we have to find those big moments and hopefully learn from that game as well. We've played in a big game. The top 3 teams are the top 3 teams. The top 2 teams are the ones that have achieved at the moment, and and us from our point of view will potentially finish 15 to 20 points clear of the sixth place that we'll be playing. So I know that doesn't guarantee you anything, but it should give you a confidence that us at our best will be a difficult proposition for the team that finishes sixth. But as I said, maybe for another time to talk about the pluses and the negatives of all that scenario.
I just wondered, is that, going back to the point, is that something that you've addressed with Gus? Because he picks up some pretty cheap yellow cards, doesn't it? Everyone loves what he does on the ball. I know you don't want to take that sort of passion away from him in that part of his game, but is there a sort of balance to be?
Yeah, he needs to control a little bit more. I think, you look at it and you would say possibly 50% of them are avoidable. Yeah. We have to deal with that, and he understands that. We can't miss our best player and our biggest player. We've got some good players, but arguably he's our best player. So we can't afford to have him on a yellow card early on and miss games of football through the season. But if the trade-off is having players like that care, that want to run around, that want to compete, that want to win, then I'll err on that side more than the passive ones that we've had in the recent past.
Of course. Tyrese spoke this week about, nobody needs any added motivation to go to the Premier League, but he has that little bit more in terms of his dad and making his dad proud. He spoke about that quite well this week. It'd be a big day for him, won't it, going back to Stoke tomorrow?
I think this story's right the way through. There's always backstories in everything in every one of the players. So, but of course he's been outstanding. Free transfer at the start of the season. We've had to manage his minutes. We still manage his minutes a little bit as well. So we have to keep him fresh and give him minutes as well, between what happens at Stoke and what happens at Blackburn as well. We've got to be smart on that front and clever. So there's a lot of things that we've got to do over the next 10 days. Yeah. But Tyrese has had a positive season, really positive, and we're all delighted as a popular member of the group, and he's contributed to our wins and our position in the table and our points tally. And he's got a big part to play between now and the end of the season. But I think, if we do achieve, there'll be all sorts of stories that will be coming out, and he's a fabulous one with his old man and the career that he had in the Premier League.
Yeah. I know you talked about addressing the playoffs further down the line, but tomorrow is 100 years to the day since United last won at Wembley, which is a crazy amount of time, isn't it, for a club this size? How sort of poetic would it be to sort of end that hoodoo this year?
Yeah, there's a bit of work to be done before then, to finish to close the season out as I've talked about. But yeah, quick one on that. It's the playoffs is what it is. There's no guarantees, but this is a new group of players. It's irrelevant, our history in the playoffs. It's super important in my opinion that going into the playoffs, we understand when we go away from home there'll be a complete sellout and an hostile environment that we'll be going into, and it needs to be replicated at Bramall Lane 100%. To give us the best opportunity of achieving a win at Wembley. But I'm consistent with this right the way through. And I said to you after the game on Monday night, Dan, club's been here from 1889.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
A long
and
time.
Unless something happens that nobody wants to happen, and the game ceases to become the game, and Sheffield United ceases to become a football club, it's going to be here for another 130, 140, 150 years. And this football club will win a playoff campaign. We'll win it without a shadow of a doubt. We'll win a playoff campaign, just as much as Newcastle won a cup final at Wembley, and other things that we'll add. It's there for us to change. And of course, a lot of work to be done before. I want to finish the season off on a high. Want to go into the playoffs on the front foot, with a load of energy, with players refreshed now, knowing exactly what we need to do, And as everybody says, if we manage to get through to the final, you know, the reward, and most importantly the experience, and the things that come along with that, in terms of what you've alluded to.
Hope it's not another. Hope it's not another 100 years before we win there.
Well, yeah, let's not go down that road.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.